After 70 years running one of the largest sports leagues ever, the NBA has witnessed quite a few awful moments. From unexpected deaths to players betraying their fans, we've compiled a list of the league's worst moments. This is the top 10 worst NBA stories ever. Starting off with number 10, Reggie Lewis. With the most championship wins of any NBA franchise, we all have a soft spot for the Boston-based team. But their good luck has been balanced by being a franchise plagued with awful and untimely tragedies. The passing away of Reggie Lewis was one of those moments. Lewis was barred from playing by his doctor after he collapsed with a heart ailment during a playoff game in 1993.
Good defense at times. All of a sudden hitting the deck is Reggie Lewis. Is he all right? Inside to Perry.
He's down right now.
Yeah, he's hurt.
They're going to have to give a foul.
Lewis was 27 years and had started training with light workouts after receiving a second medical opinion from a doctor who claimed he didn't have a heart condition at all. This would be a major mistake. On July 27, 1993, Lewis passed away on the court after suffering from full cardiac arrest while shooting hoops with his team. Number 9. Malice at the Palace. In 2004, with less than a minute left on the clock, the court that the Pistons and the Pacers were playing on broke out into a massive battle. Two players got heated and quickly got pulled away. It seems like this happens every other game and the night would have been nothing of note if it stopped there. Things cooled down until someone from the stands threw an object onto the court, hitting the Pistons forward. The player then jumped into the crowd, sparking a massive riot among both players and fans. Fans at home were shocked to see their favorite players dunking on random people in the audience. The event got so bad, even the coaches took the opportunity to land a few punches they would never get another chance to throw. This was the biggest courtside battle in NBA history, and it's the reason why you see so much security between the court and the stands.
With 12, all 5 starters in double figures. The Pacers have played a very intelligent game tonight. Then Wallace is fouled, and Wallace did. Wallace right at our chest. This has potential to be serious if they don't get between. Problem is, if Wallace is ejected, I'm not sure. He'd have to walk past the Pacer bench to go. Now Artest has jumped over the scorer's table and is trying to get down to the bench. Artest is in the stands.
Number 8. Len Bias. We weren't kidding that the Boston Celtics have seen a lot of tragedy, and tragedy is the only way to describe what happened to Len Bias. On June 17, Bias was chosen as the team's second overall pick in the '86 NBA draft. On the 18th, he flew with his father to an NBA club draft acceptance and product endorsement signing ceremony. At the event, Reebok reportedly floated the idea of signing $1 million ID with Bias. All the success warranted celebration. On the 19th, Bias returned to his dorm and started using drugs with his friend. His longtime friend Brian Tribble called 911 at 6:32 a.m. reporting that Bias was unconscious, and despite numerous attempts to revive him, I thought he passed away a few hours later. Number 7. Drazen Petrovic. When talking about NBA GOATs, one player you probably won't hear about is Drazen Petrovic. It's not always lack of motivation or skill, but because of an untimely passing. It was the summer of 1993, and Petrovic had just finished his best NBA season. On a trip to Berlin, Petrovic was contemplating his future with the Nets and a potential jump to the Panathinaikos. He decided to skip a connection flight and drive to Zabrze, but he wouldn't arrive. At 5:20 p.m. on June 17th, 1993, Petrovic was cut off by a semi-truck on the rain-drenched streets of Croatia. The truck driver lost control and fatally struck the NBA player. What heights Petrovic would have reached, we will never know. Number 6. Supersonic. The Seattle Supersonics leave their city devastated NBA enthusiasts, and the move only hurt more because of how out of left field it was. The team had just lost 2 of their top players. Ray Allen was traded away and Rashad Liu became a free agent. But in exchange, the Sonics had acquired a young Kevin Durant just entering his prime, and had one of the most dominant tandems in NBA history with duo Shawn Kemp and Gary Payton. It was supposed to be a good year for the Seattle Supersonics until it was announced that the Supersonics were going to become the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 5. LeBron leaves. This is a story we all know by now. James is the best player in the NBA history, and wherever he goes, it's going to cause shockwaves throughout the league. When he announced that he was abandoning the Cavs for the Miami Heat, the Spurs would seem condemn James in unison. While regarded as a selfish move, the disappointment continued after James returned to the Cavs just to leave them again for the LA Lakers last year. We respect putting yourself in the best position possibly to win championships, but we understand why fans would feel defeated by the lack of real loyalty. Number 4. Magic's retirement. Magic Johnson's retirement in 1991 shouldn't have been anything special. After 13 seasons, Johnson had a storied history with the league and was nearing the age of retirement. What fans weren't expecting is the announcement that he had contracted HIV, which at the time was basically a death sentence. While we know he'd be smiling and laughing during game commentary 20 years later, the announcement was taken as an admission of impending death. We can't be happy enough that it worked out well in the end.
Because of the HIV virus that I have attained, I will have to retire from the Lakers. I just want to make clear, first of all, that I do not have the AIDS disease, because I know a lot of you want to know that, but HIV virus.
Number 3. Michael Jordan. Most basketball players are expected to stay on until their late 30s. By then they aren't exactly playing at their prime, but a good player is a good player, whether they're 25 or 35. And call Michael Jordan a good player is an understatement. After his father, James Jordan, passed away, MJ announced his retirement in 1993, and it was one of the saddest moments in sports history. At only 30 years old, the greatest career in NBA history at the time had ended. Thankfully, he would eventually come back in 1995, but that pain will still be remembered. Number 2. Sproul's attack. A player attacking their coach is unthinkable. It's unthinkable now, and it was unthinkable 20 years ago, when Golden State's Latrell Sprewell had an altercation with his coach PJ Carlson. After Carlson told him he wasn't playing well that day, the two got into a shouting match. The yelling intensified and Sprewell began making threats to Carlson and escalated the fight by trying to choke his now former coach. The news echoed across the hall of every NBA franchise, and it broke the once sacred bond between players and coaches forever. Number 1. The original betrayer. We've covered players leaving their teams to chase after championships on this list, but Shaq was the original ship jumper. The Orlando Magic lost Shaquille O'Neal to the Lakers during one of his best seasons to the disappointment of fans. Sure, there's been countless more betrayals, but we always remember our first. That's all the time we have for today. What do you think of this list? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to drop a like and ring that subscriber bell to stay up to date on our future uploads. Have a nice day!